So behind me here today, I have the new 2026 Tesla Model Y Performance. In fact, it is my new 2026 Tesla Model Y Performance. I took delivery almost a week ago now, and I've put already almost 500 miles on it. I've been driving this thing absolutely everywhere. And while I'm taking my time to form my thoughts and opinions on this car as a whole, while also comparing it to other cars like new Model 3 Performance, I see a lot of people asking about that. I thought, why don't I take the time here while everything is super fresh to go over everything that's new about this car. Some things I knew going into it, but some things you won't really know until you've owned and lived with it. Along with, well, why I even decided to upgrade in the first place. So first up, let's talk specs. It is in the ultra red colorway along with the white interior. And that's pretty much it. That's about all you can actually customize on Model Y Performance when you order it new from Tesla. You can't change the wheels, can't really change anything else. This one did come with the tow hitch and lifetime premium connectivity. I'm not sure if that was just launch thing. I don't know if it's still going on. I'll have to check, because this was indeed ordered on September 30th, meaning this does qualify for the tax credit, making its effective price $7,500 less than what you would pay if you ordered new today. So let's start with the first thing you see when you look at the car, the exterior. And as we're here at the front, let's go ahead and knock this one out. Getting down here to the front bumper, as you can see, they have added a gloss black insert along with a gloss black accent going up here to the headlights. If you don't know, these are not your actual headlights. These are just your daytime running lights. These are your actual headlights. You can see the bulb up in there. Moving around to the front, you can also see that they have added this plastic lip through here. It spans all the way across. Moving around, gloss insert again, gloss black accent, and then the lip down here is, the bottom part is also a gloss black. Now don't get this confused with Tesla's diamond black. If you were to get diamond black paint, this is not diamond black. This is just a gloss accent. And in fact, this entire thing is not even gloss. It's just this one little piece right here that they've put in is gloss. Moving around to the side here, where it's actually not just the wheels that are new, it's also this mirror cap. As you can see here, it's black. Once again, not diamond black, just gloss black. Let me know if y'all like this, because I'm still a little unsure. As for the wheels, these are the new 21-inch Arachnid 2.0 wheels. If you're unfamiliar with what the original Arachnid wheel was, because it wasn't even a Model Y or Model 3 wheel, they were the upgraded wheel option for Model S and X between 2021 and 2025, or at least I believe Model X. I know for a fact it was Model S. And then in 2025, we saw the introduction of the what's now referred to as the P3 S and X, and the Arachnid wheels were phased out. But here we have a newer 2.0 version. Now, something that's a first for me, this being my fourth performance Tesla now, is the all-season tires from the factory. This is actually not uncommon for more colder northern climates, but at least where I'm at, this has never been the case. Now, is this because this car was supposed to come out during the summer and was delayed? So now that it's coming out during the winter, they're just delivering all of them on all seasons. And then when summer rolls around, they'll swap the southern, more warmer climates to a summer wheel. I don't know. Thought I'd mention it though. They are also staggered. So we have two 55, 35, 21s here in the front and two 75, 35s in the back. So very little sidewall, very little meat. Now, just like the 20-inch warp wheels found on the Model 3 Performance, these Arachnid 2.0 wheels are forged, meaning they are very lightweight. This definitely does aid with efficiency along with unsprung mass. Now, in addition to this wheel being forged, another similarity it shares with the warp wheel are the aero inserts. And you know, I'm not the biggest fan of them, having lived now with the warp wheels, also living with the Valerian wheels. I couldn't even put the caps on the Valerian wheels. They're really annoying to take on and off. They also scratch up your wheel when you take them on and off. And all around, I mean, like, I don't think they look bad. It's just the functionality to take them off so you get a nice looking wheel, and then to maybe you're going on a quick little road trip and you want the extra efficiency to quickly pop them back on. There is no quickly popping these back on like there are with the one-piece caps that Tesla has on their smaller wheels. I'm just not the biggest fan of the functionality of the inserts. Like I said, looks are fine, but functionality, yeah. Swinging around here to the rear, where first we'll start with the spoiler. It is a little bit different than Model 3 Performance spoiler and Model S Plaid Performance spoiler, it just kind of curves a little bit differently. So in case you're curious, no, they're not just using the same spoiler across all the cars. If we move down here to the rear bumper, you'll see this. While this looks kind of like a aero intake, it's not, it's fake, it's just design. Moving down here, new Model Y already had like a pretty aggressive rear diffuser, and this just takes it and just ups it to 11. We have some strakes down through here. Moving across, same thing over here on this side as well. And you'll see here is a little dirty gloss, more gloss black accents. They definitely were designing this car at the same time that they were redesigning new Model S Plaid, because new Model S Plaid has these exact same, on S it's actually real, here it's fake, but still same thing, different designed rear bumper, has the cutout in almost the exact same spot. Model S Plaid also added a bunch of new gloss accents, and that includes the gloss accent inserts up here on the front. I see a lot of people drawing design similarities between this and Plaid, and as someone that actually owns new Plaid, I 100% agree. They definitely were designing these two kind of side by side and taking stuff from one another. I didn't know if I would like the combination of your colored paint plus the satin plus the gloss, but now having owned it, seeing it every day, I think it looks good. Now, before we hop inside, two other differences that you can't see but are new with the Performance is first the rear motor. This is the new, I believe it's called the 4D motor. It's just Tesla's newest performance motor for 3 and Y. This is the same motor that is in Model 3 Performance. And then also the battery pack. The cells are the new Kansas 2170 cells, which actually, from what we now know, is what's causing the charging to be really bad on this car, which I'll talk about more in just a second. But yeah, newer motor, new cells. Let's hop on the inside. Well, we're actually not going to get in yet. We're going to stand here with the door open and look at all the other changes while we let the heat out. First up is carbon fiber. Now, carbon fiber on the dash was a thing on Model 3 Performance. However, carbon fiber on the doors was not, and I really like this here. Now, something that you can't see here, but I'll have a little video of, new Model Y Performance comes with the Performance puddle lights. I don't know if Model 3 Performance is coming with that now. I know mine didn't come with it. It was a like paid upgrade you'd have to buy. I do know that the ones that come with this one, not colored, they're just white. Whereas you can actually buy colored ones if you do want them to like show the blue. Now, if we turn around here, we can see the new Performance bucket seat. Now, I say new because this is not the same seat that's in Model 3 Performance. I didn't just slap that seat in here. And I say bucket seat in air quotations because, well, if you watch my delivery day video and the first drive, you'll know that the bolstering, the underneath exoskeleton, if you will, is nowhere near as aggressive here on Y as it is on 3 and especially S. Like, watch when I push this down. You can see the bolstering giving way. On 3 and S. This would not happen because there's this like hard piece underneath that keeps it in place, where this, it compresses more, and when you're in it, to be honest with you, it feels very similar to Tesla's normal seat. Now, that is good in terms of comfort, bad in terms of like keeping you in your seat. I do slide a little bit more in this seat, but the comfort's there, and to be honest with you, I think that's probably a good trade-off. Most people that are buying the Performance probably are never actually going to take it to the track and need to stay in place, so sacrificing a little bit of that bolstering for more comfort, I think, was the right decision here. Like, these are really comfortable, guys. These are the most comfortable bucket seats that Tesla makes. Well, there's also another reason for that. You can probably already see here, the thigh extension. This was originally a Model YL exclusive, the bigger Model Y that's only available in China right now. And as you can see here, you can move it back. That's all the way in, all the way out here. Now, I'm 6 foot. I'm just tall enough. My legs are just long enough to where when I'm kind of just sitting, driving normally, I don't really notice it. When you scoot the seat back, move your leg up, you know, you slide your foot up into the air to get a little bit more comfortable, you can really feel it kick in. Now, getting on into these extremely comfortable bucket seats, we can take a look at another hardware difference along with some of the software differences. First up, let's start with the screen. This is a 16-inch UHD display with one of the highest PPI Patrol, shout out Flossie, that Tesla has, if not the highest. This is 16 inches, like I said, and it's around, I think it's like 183 pixels per inch. It looks gorgeous. It's super crisp. A higher PPI just means a crisper, more like dense image, if you will. And while the bigger, sharper screen is really nice, and you notice it as soon as you get into the car, what catches my eye is just how thin these bezels are. Like, they are so thin. And keep in mind, you know, I'm coming from new Model 3. So it's not even like I'm coming from a legacy one that had the super chunky bezels. If you're coming from a legacy Y, like a legacy performance Y, this screen's gonna blow you away. Also, if you're wondering why my screen looks a little crooked, it's actually because I just have it turned toward me. I did put my rotating screen mount on. I'll have it linked down below. You can use code MYP for 15% off your entire order, along with just any other accessories you see in the car. Got our floor mats in, got our MagSafe phone mount up. Yeah, I'll have everything linked down below. And like I said, code MYP for 15% off. Hopping on in here to the settings, where the only real difference is under dynamics, we have insane mode, which pretty much is exactly what it sounds like. It just lets you get the full advertised 3.3 seconds 0 to 60. We also have launch mode. If you have ever been in S or X with launch mode, there was actually a drag strip mode that you would need to enable to then go into launch mode. This doesn't do that. It's just always active. Actually, you know, let me take it out of insane. Okay, so you have to be in insane, but you don't actually need to turn on anything. You can just pull up to a light, hold both pedals, and then it'll prepare you to launch. At least it'll keep people from doing their launches in track mode. If I see one more automotive journalist do a launch in track mode, if you don't know, track mode actually reduces straight line performance, I will lose my mind. And I think that's why Tesla included this here, just so people stop doing that. In fact, there's not even a track mode in here. Why don't we have a track mode? This is a performance car. I don't care if I'm not going to take it to the track. I want the track mode. I paid extra for the performance stuff. I want the extra software stuff too. Tesla, add track mode. I assume it'll come, but I would have liked to have seen it at delivery. Now, in addition to the acceleration and launch mode, you also have a ride and handling setting. Yes, this car did get the adaptive suspension like we saw on Model 3 Performance. And when you're in Sport, as you can see, it provides a firmer, more controlled ride that increases driver engagement and connection to the road. And yeah, that's about what it feels like. It just feels a lot more firm, a little bit less roll in the corners. And overall, it feels like what a more sporty SUV should feel like. Whereas when you swap back to standard, it feels like you're not even in a Model Y Performance anymore. It feels like you're now in the more comfortable premium Model Y with its less firm suspension. Yeah, the adaptive suspension does a really good job. Besides that, I don't think there's any other options here. In case you all are curious, here's the self-driving. Yes, I have been driving it, but also using self-driving. Now, if we get out of the car, we'll be able to take a look at the final difference here on new Model Y Performance, and that's actually going to be vehicle to load charging. Yes, you have the ability to plug your mobile connector into your charge port with an adapter and then charge from the mobile connector. Now, would I have just preferred a normal plug in the trunk? I mean, yeah, but this is still pretty cool. So we're going to give it a shot. Also, I had somebody ask if this came with 240 volt. Yes, it does. It comes with the NEMA 1450. It also comes with a standard plug as well. But yeah, NEMA 1450 right there. So now, if I grab this, and this also does come with the car, you can see here the plug. So all you do is you take it, slot it in, and now you can connect something to this. And actually, I have the perfect thing I want to connect to it. I recently got a Starlink Mini for free, literally for free. If you are a residential customer for Starlink, I'll have the email on screen now that I got. This is the email that you can kind of search for. It went out back in October. I actually redeemed it past when it said that it was good through, and it still worked. And yeah, got it in for free. It is technically a rental, but this isn't like a physical movie disc where if the streaming service goes down, you can still use it. I mean, if you cancel your Starlink, you're not going to be able to use the dish anymore. So it being a rental is fine. And the deal also offers half off of all plans if and when you do want to upgrade out of the $5 a month unlimited but slow data plan. Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's get this plugged in. There's a light right here. You can see we're nice and plugged in. You can see that, and then we'll hop in the car here. Oh yeah, you can actually stop power share too if you want. Now, I don't know if this is going to become a possibility or not for it to eventually be used as like a home backup, kind of like how Cybertruck is. Oh, look, you can actually see there's a special, it actually does have the adapter on it. That's pretty cool. What if I tap it? Charge port. Oh, did that stop? Okay, yeah, so that stopped it. Oh, well, I probably just killed the Starlink trying to connect. I also don't know if this is like software enabled. So like Tesla could just flip a switch and then all Model Ys can do this. I don't know. And there we go. The Starlink is online and connected. In fact, I already have the car connected to it. And I think this is just so cool that the car is powering this, and it's just on the ground over here. The car is powering this and connected to it. So the car provides power and then it provides a connection to the car. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but this is just so cool. Now, as for why we decided to upgrade and buy this car, we just needed a bigger 3. The 3 is a great car. I love it. It's a great driver's car. The replacement car I have planned for it is also going to be a great driver's car, but we just needed a bigger 3, and the Model Y is pretty much just a bigger 3. Of course, we also do get some of the newer features like the Model Y L screen and the Model Y L thigh extension, but besides that, yeah, we just wanted a bigger 3. Not to mention there's also just a ton of overlap between S and 3, and S wins at pretty much every single category, excluding like handling. It's a little bit more boaty, but I do have mine lowered with a square 285s all around, wider 10.5-inch wheels. So it does feel a lot more planted and closer to 3. In terms of performance, the 3 technically is faster than this Model Y performance, but of course my Plaid eats both of them for breakfast, so that will easily scratch my performance itch. And it also doesn't hurt that Model Y is kind of the king of Tesla YouTube. More people own Model Ys, more people are watching Model Y content. So it also makes sense from a creator standpoint, as cringe as that is to say. But yeah, all around, I've been really enjoying new Model Y performance here. The 3 things I don't like about the car, I already mentioned the aero inserts. I also mentioned no track mode. The third thing, which I briefly mentioned, the new cells from Kansas, the 2170s, yeah, they don't charge good. I pulled in at a supercharger, fully preconditioned. I drove from Louisville to Frankfurt. If you know that drive, it's not a short drive. Fully preconditioned, pulled in at a V4 at 3%. I never broke 230 kilowatts. This is advertised as a 250 car. And before I was even at 25%, I was sub 150. I think it was like 136. It has a terrible charging curve. Now, apparently that is because the cells are new, so Tesla has it software limited just as a more conservative charging curve, and then they'll eventually kind of start ramping it up. I guess kind of like how we saw with Cybertruck, so hopefully it'll get better. I assume it'll get better, but for right now, yeah, the supercharging sucks. That doesn't affect us though, as we never supercharge. In fact, we were there supercharging for the sake of supercharging the car, just because we never got to on delivery day. We also went to Chili's too, just in case you're curious. We did do our Chili's trip in this car. But yeah, not much to complain about. I did have some people asking about the delivery day issues. We have the dent that's actually on a body line. I'm curious to see if they're even going to be able to fix that and like make it look good. And the right seat doesn't fold. There's something messed up with the motor. We do have a service appointment right now set up to get all of it fixed, so I will have an update on that when it comes. But those are like the only 2 issues we have, and those are like the only like 2 or 3 things that I don't like about the car. Everything else has been great. If you have any questions or any comparisons you want to see between this car and Model 3 Performance or Model S Plaid, then drop them down in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more Tesla related stuff here in your YouTube feed, more Model Y Performance stuff, then feel free to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.